Good afternoon, everyone. We're back with the live streams. We are so back here, and we're going to talk about a lot of transfer updates of what's been going on. We waited a few days on purpose because we wanted things to accumulate and so we could have more news to talk about. And there are a lot of things to talk about. And obviously, Gio Reyna being one of them, being maybe the biggest one of them all. There's Musa, McKenna transfer news, as always. Every summer, there's a McKenna transfer news. But as always, even though this is a transfer stream, we can't just go right into it, right? We have to take it easy. We have to go slow. There has to be some foreplay. And with that said, before we even start talking about the transfers, people were clowning my dear friend, Tom Brady, the greatest football player of all time, the greatest American football player of all time. They were clowning him this past week. And I thought it would be nice to open the stream talking about Tom Brady. And I was going to put the clip, which was on a Men in Blazers interview, but I don't know if Men in Blazers would copyright strike me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read what he said, which is even better, right? You guys probably prefer my voice instead of Tom Brady. I am taller and better looking Tom Cruise, and I'm definitely not taller than Tom Brady because that guy is tall. He's like very tall, but I got a better voice than Tom Brady. That is not debatable, right? That is absolutely not debatable. So this is what Tom Brady had to say, and he was completely clowned online for it. And what I want to say about it is that I think many people didn't really understand what he meant. And then I'm going to talk about the transfer. So Tom Brady told Men in Blazers podcast, I think the reality for most athletes in America is these other sports just become very dominant because of culturally what's on TV all the time. And what's being talked about in the schoolyard ends up often being American football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. I don't know about hockey, man. I mean, growing up in high school, well, going back to my high school days, even elementary school, middle school, I didn't go in the US. I was back in Brazil for middle school. I wouldn't say hockey was talked about a lot. NFL and NBA was huge. Major League Baseball had their own niche in the school too, but NFL and NBA were huge. And then it's amazing sport. But this is what he had to say that I think people started to clown him. He said, and it's an amazing sport. It's a global sport. He's talking about soccer. It's the biggest sport in the world. We all love it. And the reality is, you think about boxing, when there's an American heavyweight, everyone in America is all in on it. And what we need in youth in America, that's what we need in the youth of American soccer. We need a young phenom like Lamine Yamal or a young Lionel Messi to take over. And and I believe that there will be the most amazing kind of cultural revolution for soccer here in America. So what Tom Brady was saying, and people were kind of like making fun of him, was like, duh, idiot. So you're saying if the U.S. men's national team has freaking Messi, it'll be popular. I think what people were not understanding of what he was trying to say, and listen, I don't know Tom Brady, so I don't know if this is what he meant, but I'm going to give my 2 cents here, even though no one freaking asked for it. And then we'll talk about the transfers. I think that for the U.S. men's national team to become more popular, it's better for the team to have that one superstar, let's say like a Lamine Yamal, Messi, Neymar, Ronaldo, something like that, instead of a good team. And this may even be controversial. Some people might call me stupid. But for example, let's say we had a team at the same level as Switzerland. That's a good team, can make it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, always competitive. I don't think the popularity of this sport would grow at all because of that. The kids, the casual sports fans, they would have no one to really idealize. They would, maybe some people, maybe the team would be more respected because we have a better team. But if you want the popularity to grow, you need that one superstar that the entire country just falls in love with and gets behind that guy, right? That sounded a bit weird. But anyhow, the entire country simply wants to know what's going on with him, watch him because he's just that good. He's one of the best in the world, makes us proud. I think it's not about having the best US men's national team. Like, the team could stink. We could have this Messi like player and still be knocked out always in the round 16 of the World Cup. The team could stink or even get grouped, right? We've seen Ronaldo get grouped with Portugal, for example, but even though they didn't really stink, but you get the point. if we have that one superstar, people will pay attention. If he's out there winning the Champions League, and people are going to say Pulisic won the Champions League, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I mean, like single-handedly carrying a team, like being the best player, undoubtedly, always in the Ballon d'Or conversation, a showman, a little bit of an asshole, a little bit of a bad boy. I think that's what Tom Brady meant, is that if we had that one player, it wouldn't really matter how the national team performs. The popularity of the sport would grow in the US. And probably over the long term, we would have better teams just because of that one player. Kind of like how Son is for South Korea, right? Uh, I think that's what Tom Brady meant, but people were clowning him because it's the internet, right? And that's what we do. So now let's talk about Gio Reyna. I want to talk about Gio Reyna here, and I want to pull up an article of what came out because Parma is the rumored team that he'll go to, but nothing's been done yet. And they sold Dennis Mann. Dennis Mann. That's a funny name. One of their Dennis Mann, or just they sell Man to PSV. That's what they reported there. He is an attacking midfielder, and he can also play as a winger. And then they signed the Danish player Sorensen for 10 million. So they roughly sold one and signed the other. Sorensen plays a bit deeper, right? There were people saying he plays a 6. I saw that he plays as a central midfielder. They sold an attacker or an attacking midfielder, and they signed a central midfielder. Does that mean Gio Reyna is going to be landing in Parma soon? I don't know. But what I want to say about Gio, that's been a major disappointment for me so far about Gio Reyna, is that we have reached August 12th. We're pretty much halfway through August. The transfer window ends at the end of this month. So I'm almost certain that Gio Reyna is going to leave Borussia Dortmund at some point this transfer window. But simply looking into the fact of how long this is taking just shows how mismanaged his career is. And you can talk about the agents. You can talk about mommy and daddy. You can talk about Gio himself. You can talk about Dortmund. We can blame whoever we want, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, Gio Reyna has the final word. He is an adult. It is his career. He is in charge of his career. And listen, the problem with the transfer being so late in the transfer window, because you're going to say, doesn't really matter as long as he lands, in the right club. You are right to a certain extent. The problem is at this point, he's missed preseason with whatever his new club will be. He missed preseason. You're going to say that doesn't matter if he's training. It does matter, right? When you're new to a club and you're trying to understand the system, build chemistry with the players, earn your starting spot, right? Nothing's guaranteed when he gets a move. When you're trying to get all of that done, the preseason matters a whole lot. And Gio Reyna, it doesn't matter where he goes, he missed preseason. He missed it. And then you're going to say, that is Dortmund's fault because they're holding him. Well, is it? Because look at it this way. Gio Reyna signed an extension with Dortmund. His contract would have expired this summer, but he signed a 1-year extension to get that stupid Nottingham Forest loan. So who's that on? Do we blame Dortmund? Sure. I think that club has a lot of issues. And as I said before, there's a special place in hell for that club at this point for multiple reasons. But with Gio Reyna, he did that. And that Nottingham Forest move, if you guys don't remember, I even went to the straight red card at the time because we debated on whether or not this was a good move. And I kept saying that the loan to Nottingham Forest is and will be a disaster. This is a relegation battle team this season. That's what they were at the time. Their best player plays in the position that Gio Reyna plays, right? Gio Reyna is arriving at a club where the best player plays the same position as Gio Reyna. And he's a veteran. It was Morgan Gibbs-White at the time. So I think he's still there with Nottingham Forest, actually. It wouldn't have worked out, right? And ultimately, obviously, it didn't work out. And he signed that extension. Now he's stuck with Dortmund. Is he going to leave? Yes. But it already is messing with his season. He missed preseason. Now, listen, MLS transfer window closes August 21st. And from what I'm hearing, there is still the possibility that Gio could go to Major League Soccer. Okay. Take it for what you want. I'm not the guy with the best sources because let's just say, a lot of big bridges were burned for me speaking my mind out there, right? I say whatever I want, and then people don't want to talk to me, which is okay. But from what I'm hearing, Gio Reyna could still end up in MLS. It's not his number one option for sure, and obviously Parma is still an option. I don't know what other ones he has, but apparently there are other offers in Europe. They're just not really as good. But he could end up in MLS, and the date you should have penciled down is August 21st. If he doesn't leave, if by August 21st he doesn't have a new club and he's still with Dortmund, that means the MLS transfer window is closed and he's not going to go to Major League Soccer, right? And we do know that LAFC is looking for an attacking midfielder because there were reports today, real reports, that they are negotiating with Rafael Veiga from Palmeiras. That is an attacking midfielder. Okay, so that's the news on Gio. Again, Dennis Mann leaves Parma on a deal worth 8.5 million euros, and he heads to PSV. And then they signed Oliver Sorensen from Midtjylland in Denmark for 10 million euros. So they sell an attacking midfielder that can play out wide on the wing, and they signed Oliver Sorensen, which is a central midfielder. That does not mean Gio Reyna is coming. Okay, we still don't know. It doesn't mean Gio Reyna will be signed because they sold a guy and they already signed another midfielder. The Gio Reyna situation with the Parma negotiations, it's taking way too long. Everything's very upsetting right now. Again, a player that is very much mismanaged at this point. And I do know that Parma is apparently selling one of their center backs to Liverpool. I don't know if that is true because what happens is Liverpool is also signing Mark Guehi. So I don't know what's true about that as well. There's a lot of fake news out there, especially when it comes to transfer rumors. But I want to talk about Yunus Musa right now. Yunus Musa. Because here it is. Milan hit Musa standstill with Napoli and Nottingham Forest. So there was interest from two clubs, Napoli and Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. And Milan wants 30 million euros for Yunus Musa. This is insane, right? This is very much like the housing market in the United States right now, where you get a home that's worth like 300 grand and the dude wants to sell it to you for $500,000. And you're like, it's not worth that. The dude doesn't cut the prices. You can't buy the home. He thinks it's worth that. But your house, your player is only worth whatever the market wants to pay for it, right? I'm not comparing players to houses. I'm just comparing markets to markets, essentially, at this point. The overall point here is Milan is definitely overvaluing Yunus Musa. I don't see a club paying 30 million euros for Yunus Musa, but it's Milan. That's also not the brightest club. I mean, they are the team that paid, 35 to 40 million euros for Santi Jimenez. And now they're desperate trying to sign an actual center forward, trying to get Højlund from Manchester United, which is also not the greatest center forward, but better than Santi Jimenez. So that's the situation with Yunus Musa. There's interest for him to leave. And y'all might be asking me, is Napoli a good move for Yunus Musa? I didn't follow Napoli closely last year. I know they're a good team. They did sign Kevin De Bruyne. They do have Scott McTominay in the midfield. And as far as I can remember, Scott McTominay can definitely do a better job than Yunus Musa as a box-to-box midfielder if needed, as a more attack. He's better in the final third than Musa for sure. Better defending than Musa. They have Kevin De Bruyne in the midfield. I don't know, and I don't think Yunus Musa would start for Napoli. Would he get minutes? Maybe. I don't know, and I don't think he would start. Now, in regards to Nottingham Forest, I also don't think he would play much for Nottingham Forest. That was a very good team last year in the Premier League. They almost qualified to the Champions League. But again, if you ask me, I don't have an expertise on Napoli and Nottingham Forest to 100% affirm to you that it's a bad move or a good move. I'm just saying, based on the limited data that I have, because these are not teams, I can't watch every freaking team in Europe. I know you guys want me to watch every team in Europe, but unfortunately, I cannot do that. These don't look like teams that Yunus Musa would play much. And that's probably one of the reasons why they're not willing to pay 30 million euros. They probably want to pay less, like 20. And if they get him for 20, he can be a utility player for them. He can play as a right back, midfielder, backup, starter when needed, right? But the thing with Yunus Musa is that over the past 2 to 3 seasons, it has felt like he has stagnated or regressed. He was an exciting prospect if you go back to 2021, 2022, and he was like 17, 18, 19, because he was pretty much at this level with some sparks of talent here and there. But ever since, it just feels like he hasn't really developed. And sometimes, and this is an interesting one. Mr. O, this is an interesting take. He's saying Musa will continue to develop. He's showing versatility. I think versatility at times can be a weakness for a player. If you're overly versatile and you're seen as just like a Swiss Army knife or something like that, you guys get what I'm saying, you can kind of become a duck. You guys know what I mean by a duck, right? I've talked about this before. You play as a right back, a midfielder, center back, winger, attacking mid, defensive mid. You become a duck. You essentially can do everything, but you're bad at everything, right? Ducks suck at walking. They don't know how to walk properly. Ducks can't really swim properly, but they swim. They can swim. They just suck at it. They're slow. They're not good. Ducks can kind of fly, but not really. They can fly like low, but they can't really fly up high. So they suck at flying. Essentially, ducks can do everything, but they suck at everything. So versatility can be a problem at times, right? You want to become really good at maybe one role, one position, and then become an actual starter or an elite player at that level. And I think with Musa, yeah, he's versatile because he can kind of play most positions, but it's clearly not the best for him. And yeah, I guess the easiest way to put out the whole duck thing that I was saying is jack of all trades, master of none. That's what Yunus Musa has become, right? He has become. It's like they're saying, Tech, do you think you can give me a good foot job? No, I can't. I also don't have my foot, both of my feet here, they're nasty. I lost my toenail, my big toenail. I lost both of them playing soccer. People just kind of like stepped on it. They're questioning my duck knowledge now. You guys are questioning my duck. I know ducks more than anyone, dude. You don't question my duck knowledge. I know ducks like anyone else out there. I know ducks way better than anyone else out there. Do not question my duck knowledge. What I will question is, have you guys hit the like button? If you haven't hit the like button, do so right now. I truly appreciate it. We'll be back in a minute. I have to put a quick word from the sponsor of this video, because if we don't put the sponsor, I will not be able to pay rent. And the link to play So Rare is in the description of this video with a special offer. But in the meantime, while the ad is running, drop a like and then run to the restroom, take a piss, or poop if you can poop fast, and make sure to wash your hands. Always wash your hands. It's very important to wash your hands. We'll be back in 60 seconds, or a little bit more than 60 seconds. If you like fantasy sports, I got the perfect one for you. Tactical Manager TV is partnering up once again with SoRare with a special offer. Just use the link in the description of this video. In SoRare, you can collect your own virtual cards of your favorite players. But why would you want to collect virtual cards? Because you can line them up on 5-a-side games every single week, and if the players perform in real life, you can win real money, unique experiences, signed jerseys, game tickets, or even more cards to improve your club. And SoRare doesn't only have soccer, they also have the NBA, and they have also Major League Baseball. Unlike other fantasy games where it's pay per play, in SoRare you pay to get the players you want permanently as cards, and then you can play multiple times using those cards until the player retires. And if you are new to SoRare, you can sign up with the link in the description of this video with a special offer. You will get a 50% bonus in your first few purchases up to $300 spent, which means if you use the link in the description and you never bought cards before, you will get 50% as credit up to $300 spent. So if you spend $300, you get $150 in credit. Essentially a $150 welcome bonus. Thank you very much, SoRare, for partnering up with Tactical Manager TV and sponsoring the channel. Okay, so I actually, while the ad was playing, I put up Weston McKennie's transfer rumors, which happens every summer. It's probably not going to happen, but or maybe it will. But we only have 63 likes in this stream. That's it. We have almost 300 people here the entire time, and we have 60. Okay, now we have 69 likes. Nice, nice, very nice. But we can get it to over 100. I would truly appreciate if we can get it over to 100. So Weston McKennie, they put out this article here, Forza Juve article, talking about deja vu, which we saw it during the 2020 deja vu moment for Weston McKennie. During the 2024-2025 season, McKennie showed remarkable versatility, operating as a central midfielder, attacking midfielder, false nine, and even fullback. Blah, blah, blah. And then they said his current contract expires on the 30th of June of 2026. And while there had been a plan to extend it till 2028 with an option for a further year, discussions have stalled. This happened last summer as well. And then this is what they put. No agreement has been reached, and the renewal process has effectively ground to a halt. However, no formal offers have arrived from McKennie so far, but interest is building. Clubs from the Bundesliga, Premier League, the Turkish League are all monitoring the situation. There's also a possibility, which is speculative, that he would remain in the Serie A with Roma, reportedly also keeping a close eye on the developments. For now, McKennie remains a key figure in Juventus squad, but unless talks resume, the prospect of him leaving Turin before the end of his contract cannot be ruled out. So a couple things here. Every summer they put out things about Weston McKennie leaving, and then he ends up negotiating and renewing his contract, and he plays a very important role for Juventus during the season. From what we've seen on different reports, it looks like McKennie, the transfer fee that Juventus wants is 25 million euros if he's going to leave. I'm not a betting man, but if I were to bet, I would say McKennie is probably going to renew for a season or two and stay with Juventus. Okay. It just happens every season. So my overall point here, why am I even reading this if I don't believe the rumors? I'm reading this simply to tell you all, every single transfer rumor with Weston McKennie, take it with a huge pile of grain of salt. Actually, that doesn't make any sense. Take it with a grain of salt. It can't be a pile and a grain of salt. So take it with a grain of salt. Okay, it's probably not going to happen. It probably won't happen. Let's see. Let's go to the next. Oh, I got a good one here. Do you guys want to talk about Dortmund again? I got a good one here. Cole Campbell. Let's talk about Cole Campbell because he's still with Dortmund and USMNT Prospects on X. Good account right there to track prospects, American prospects. He did all the work here translating this for me. And this is what he said. At Dortmund, things are tense between Cole Campbell and the club. After conversation with coach Niko Kovac, the player wants to move to Stuttgart and is said to have already agreed on a 5-year contract with Stuttgart. However, Dortmund is standing in the way. The club is demanding a transfer fee of 8 million euros, while Stuttgart is only offering 4 million euros. Yeah, what sucks here is that Cole Campbell probably won't play at all, if much, with Dortmund this season. At the same time, I understand Dortmund trying to get as much money as they can for the player that they developed right there, Cole Campbell. But again, I'm just getting tired of Borussia Dortmund. If they could facilitate, just cash in. Hold on. Like, if you're not going to play the player, it's going to mess with his development. And on top of messing with his development, you're also just going to devalue that player, right? So at this point, it would be better for Dortmund just to sell a bunch of guys and hold on to a future percentage of a fee, right? They just keep that, and that's probably the best outcome. And if the player turns out to become good at some point, Borussia Dortmund will profit out of it later rather than just stalling their development like they're doing to Cole Campbell. Like, to a certain extent, they did it to Gio Reyna. There's a lot of blame on Gio Reyna, but there's a lot of blame on Dortmund as well. So, once again, Borussia Dortmund. If you needed more reasons to hate Borussia Dortmund, there you go. You got another one right there. You got another reason. Which, by the way, once again, get those likes up in the stream. We have 89. We need to surpass 100 right now. And if you're rewatching this later, just hit the like button, regardless of how many likes it has. It helps the channel quite a bit. So that's the update on Cole Campbell. He has an agreement with Stuttgart, but at the same time, it looks like Stuttgart doesn't have an agreement with Dortmund, and they seem to be like pretty far off, right? Dortmund wants a lot more. Now, the one I want to talk about now is USMNT prospect right back Alex Freeman, because there was an account, I believe from Europe, that reported that Alex Freeman had agreed in principle to Villarreal. But Tom Bogert, which, as I said, he is a mouthpiece for MLS. And when it's MLS news, we should probably trust him. Okay, we should probably trust him. At least that's what I do. Like him or not. He said on the USMNT right back Alex Freeman, per sources, no agreement between Orlando City and Villarreal on transfer. Orlando still don't want to sell him this summer. There's 18 months left on his contract, and Orlando have an offer out to make him as a U22 initiative, essentially like a young DP, right? A young designated player, so he get paid a lot of money. Freeman could run down the contract and leave in January of 2027. Villarreal is one of the many teams who want Alex Freeman. So a couple things here to digest. Alex Freeman is 21. So he's young, but it's not like he's a U20 player at this point. He's 21. Would he do well in La Liga? It doesn't seem to fit his playing style. I've watched him play the entire summer for the U.S. men's national team. I've watched him play for Orlando City many, many times. He's a player that there is something there, but I don't rate him very highly in terms of potential. With that said, I would very much love to see him go to La Liga, make that big jump from MLS to La Liga, challenge himself, and then I hope things work out. I would love to see an American right back, an American developed also right back here in the U.S., make it in La Liga for a good team. Villarreal is no yo-yo club. They're not fighting for relegation. This is a good team. So I hope it happens. Obviously, there's no agreement. Tom Bogert already debunked that. Maybe there's an agreement between Alex Freeman and Villarreal, but clearly there's no agreement between Orlando City and Villarreal, according to Tom Bogert. But it's an interesting one for me because, and again, I hope I'm wrong. It's just that La Liga is seen as a more possession-based, slow league that is what should I call it? For technical players, right? Players that can control the tempo. And while Alex Freeman, that's not really his style of play. I'm not comparing levels, but if I were to compare like style of play, I'll probably see something more similar to Anthony Robinson. He can be very dangerous in transition. He's fast. He's strong. He can get quick crosses in. He's dangerous. Can score goals. Like the style of play would be something more comparable to Anthony Robinson. I don't think Anthony Robinson is the ideal left back for La Liga. If I were to say the right move for Alex Freeman, probably would be to go to a very good EFL Championship team, and that's where I think he could thrive. And if he develops well while he's playing there, who knows? Maybe he could even go to the Premier League or get promoted, right? La Liga doesn't seem like the ideal league, but who am I to judge? If he goes to La Liga, I am actually wishing him the best. I would be very happy if he does well, especially since he's an Orlando City player. I would be happy if that happened. Now, one news that came out too is Gianluca Busio. It looks like he's going to stay. It looks like Busio is going to stay with Venezia. Nicolo Shida reported that Gianluca Busio is one step away to extend his contract with Venezia until 2029. And if you don't remember, we covered the Americans abroad every single Monday. Venezia, they're in the Serie B. They got relegated. So Busio will probably renew his contract. And that kind of puts him out of the 2026 World Cup. There's probably no way he's going to get called in if he's playing in the second division of Italy. I don't think it'll happen. And Busio will stay. That's fine. Maybe he likes life in Venezia. I don't have much to question there. If he wants to go fight for promotion, maybe he could get a move, but it looks like he's going to stay with Venezia. When it comes to the big picture with the U.S. men's national team, I don't think this matters too much, right? Now, the other one I want to talk about briefly because, I mean, this happened more than a week ago, but we were letting news accumulate before going live. Let's just quickly touch upon Matt Turner and his move to the New England Revolution MLS. So Lyon tried to cancel Matt Turner's move. They hired a lawyer to try to cancel his move from Nottingham Forest, right? That's who he was with, because he was loaned out to Crystal Palace. So Nottingham Forest, I believe, was where Matt Turner was. I'm confused. I don't remember which team right now. I believe it was Nottingham Forest. But then he went to Lyon. They tried to cancel the deal. They weren't able to cancel the deal. So he had to sign a 3-year contract, and he was immediately loaned out with an option to buy to the New England Revolution to save his salary. So Matt Turner already made his debut for the New England Revolution, or shall I say his return, because he did play already for New England a few years back. And I'm not for players leaving Europe and coming back to MLS when they're still young, and Turner is still young enough that he could stay in Europe for longer. But I think MLS is his level. And the best version that we've seen from Matt Turner was when he played in MLS, because he was sharp. He was playing all the time. He was confident. And right now, our goalkeeper situation sucks. We have Edward lettuce hands all over our goal, right? It's just guys that are really bad. But we have seen the best version of Matt Turner. And if we can get the best version of Matt Turner for the 2026 World Cup, I wouldn't mind it, right? He was a good shot stopper. He is who he is with his feet. He's terrible with his feet. But as a shot stopper, he's pretty good when he's in form. So what my point is, I actually like this move for Matt Turner. Look, I like the fact that he left Europe and came to MLS for minutes. That one, I am 100% for it. Okay, I am 100% for it. Matt Turner back in Major League Soccer. I think it's the right move for him. Now, the other one is Tim Weah. You guys, this also happened like a week ago, but I wanted to show a cool picture here that USMNT only shared from Tim Weah. Tim Weah did sign with Olympique Marseille. He, what was the deal again? It was Fabrizio Romano reported on it. Tim Weah, it was a 1 million euro loan fee with a 14 million euro obligation to buy and 3 million on add-ons. Okay, so when you put all that together, he was essentially sold from Juve to Olympique Marseille for around 15 to 18 million euros, Tim Weah. And then after signing with Marseille, as USMNT only reported here, Tim Weah recreated the magazine cover of his father, George Weah, the legendary George Weah, when he signed for the club 25 years ago. And this is actually pretty cool. If you guys can see it, Tim Weah is even wearing the old school. I mean, maybe it's photoshopped. I don't know if this is photoshopped or not. Or maybe not. Maybe he's actually wearing that retro Marseille jersey, which, by the way, what a jersey. I should probably buy that one. That is one beautiful jersey. You guys know I collect jerseys. I have a lot of jerseys here, probably more than you can count. I have like 300 something jerseys, but this is a beautiful jersey. The only unfortunate part of this is that we're going to have to end up watching Mason Greenwood play every weekend when I'm following Tim Weah. Unfortunately, I can't say what I think about Mason Greenwood, or I could say, I have already said it many times. I definitely do not wish Mason Greenwood the best. I don't wish him the best. But that's on him. And I think that's pretty much all that I want to cover here today. Those were all the transfer rumors and news, everything that has happened in the U.S. men's national team transfers universe. We'll keep you all updated probably next week if we get any news on Musa, Gio Reyna. On Thursday, we have a USMNT Abroad teaser episode where I'm going to go through 7 players that you must follow this season. We're obviously going to follow all the players, right? On Monday, the U.S. men's national team abroad series will be back on Monday, so you guys can go check that out. I'm sure it's the channel favorite, right? Are you all happy that the USMNT abroad? My weekends are gone; they're dead. But the USMNT back on Monday, okay, this Monday. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit the notification bell. By the way, before we go, this stream is brought to you by SoRare. And if you go to the description of this video, you're also going to see a link from Umbro. Okay, if you guys go and click on that link and use the code that we give you, you can get 20% off. You will get 20% off any item that you buy. That 10% off right there lies. Click on the link and use my code TM20. TM20, the link is in the description, and you can get anything you want 20% off, and you can use it multiple times. Multiple times. And what they do have is they have even they have like soccer jerseys, or actually cleats, whatever you want to buy, soccer cleats, soccer jerseys, all of it 20% off. Okay, use our code and our link. Look at these jerseys. Olympia jersey. What else do they have? Olympia again. I'm pretty sure El Salvador. Oh, I might actually get this El Salvador jersey. 20% off. This is a beautiful jersey. Beautiful. $70, 70% off. What it's going to be, like $50 for a jersey? That's not bad. That's not bad. $50 for a jersey. So make sure to use our Guatemala too. Their third jersey. Beautiful one. How much is it? $95. That's pricey, but then you get 20% off. That's like $20 that's cut off from the price. So use the link in the description, and you can get 20% off, and use also TM20. And this stream is actually brought to you by SoRare. Link is also in the description. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. I'll see you guys on Thursday for the USMNT Abroad teaser, and then I'll see you all on Monday for the US Men's National Team Abroad weekend recap. All right? Ciao.